Do you want to know how terrible the state of the American comic book industry is? Look no further than what Dark Horse Comics revealed during San Diego Comic-Con. They revealed that manga is only 1% of the publisher's output, but represents 66% of the company's sales. Whoa! Why are you even publishing the other 99%? Like, what are you doing? But absolutely wild here. These comments come from Michael Gambos, who is the senior director of licensing at Dark Horse Comics. It was reported by journalist Deb Aoki, who attended the Found in Translation San Diego Comic-Con panel, where Gambos relayed during the panel, it's important to remember that manga was made for Japanese readers. At Dark Horse Comics, manga is 1% of our output, but represents 66% of our sales. That is absolutely insane. It shouldn't really come as that big of a surprise, though, because we did get some information from Embracer Group when they purchased Dark Horse Comics back in 2021. When they did purchase it, they revealed some sales data. They revealed that Kentaro Miura's Berserk manga was the highest selling print property for Dark Horse Comics in both 2019, 2020, and 2021. It was also the third most sold property in 2017 behind Zelda and Overwatch, and then the fourth most sold property in 2018 behind Zelda, Super Mario, and World of Warcraft. I think 2017 was when they first started publishing the deluxe Berserk hardcovers, and that has been an absolutely successful line. And I'm unfortunately, we don't know what it is. I'm wondering what the proportion is of that for that 66% of their sales, right? So not only did Embracer Group reveal that Berserk was their highest selling print property, but its rise to the top of the charts was also followed a trend where the company's backlist sales began making up a plurality of its total sales. So you can see here, it's a little bit harder to see because it's a little tiny, but in 2018, 50% of sales were initial sales compared to just shy of 30% being backlist sales. Backlist sales would increase to 37.5% in 2019, with frontlist sales declining to 35.7%. In 2020, backlist sales were making up 45% of the company's sales, while frontlist sales had declined to 27.9%. Finally, in 2021, backlist sales were making up nearly half of all sales at 49%. While frontlist sales had declined to 24.1%. So my guess is that is a decline in American Western comic books being initially sold, new comics being sold, and like the backlist, such as Kentaro Miura's Berserk, way outselling those newer comics and taking over the majority of the sales for Dark Horse Comics. You can see right there, this, like, I guess it's like a bar chart or whatever you call that. Where the gray was tiny and got way bigger as it progressed. So what I also found this was an interesting statistic too. In that Embracer Group report was that sales at Things from Another World, which is a retailer that I guess is owned by Dark Horse and now Embracer Group, were pretty much flat between 2019 to 2021. The reports note that sales in 2019 came in at 2.3 million. It stayed flat in 2020 and had a slight increase in 2021 to 2.5 million. While sales at Things from Another World were flat, sales at Dark Horse Digital did see a significant bump during the COVID-19 lockdowns. In 2018 and 2019, sales were flat at 3.4 million. It significantly increased to 5.5 million in 2020 and then declined to 4.3 million in 2021. It's unfortunate that we don't have sales data for 2020. I wonder if it went back down to that like 3.4 million number from like the COVID boom, but and kind of returned to normal, or if it's still digital sales are still a little bit higher. But again, even though their backlist sales were increasing, manga sale, the Berserk was obviously increasing as well. One would assume with that their manga sales were increasing, but their overall sales at like their store, especially at Things from Another World, was flat in general. So that's interesting. So that also to me tells me that even readers at the stores were buying the manga over their Western published books, Western books. So then if we have another statistic that we can look at too, given Dark Horse's revelation that manga represents 66% of their sales, is the fact that Berserk Volume 1 from Dark Horse Comics was only the 16th most sold manga title of 2022, as reported by NPD Bookscan. NPD Bookscan basically I think it tracks around at 85% of all bookstores in North America. So even with, so like you're saying, Berserk is making up probably a significant proportion of that 66% of the sales, but it's only 16th on the most sold manga of 2022. Most of them being Chainsaw Man Volume 1, Spy X Family, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, My Hero Academia is on there as well. And then Jujutsu Kaisen being the other, and all the like different volumes within those titles outselling Berserk volume, the deluxe volume 1 hardcover. So it was interesting though when you actually look at the comic book. They have another data chart ICV2 does called Comic Hub, which tracks basically a number of comic book shops point of sales data. And in that chart, Berserk was actually only topped by Chainsaw Man Volume 1, My Hero Academia Volume 1, and Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Volume 1. So to me, that does kind of lend to this theory that I was talking about, that even people that are going to comic book shops now are potentially purchasing more manga than Western books that they were doing. And there's anecdotal evidence you can find on Twitter when comic shops are closing. Pretty much most of the manga section has been sold out, but there's plenty of Western comics still on the shelves that no one is buying, even at significantly discounted prices, because the store is closing and trying to get as much revenue before they shut down. So it does look like that Dark Horse might be expanding their output of manga. They've been publishing One's Mob Psycho 100, also Sumito Uwara's Keep Your Hands Off Aizokin, Wataru Nadatani's Cat Plus Gamer, Koto Hirano's Drifters, and Hellsing, as well as a deluxe hardcover editions of Yasuhiro Nightows Trigun. But I do think the fact that 1% of their output is making up 66% of their sales shows you that Western comic books and the Western comic book industry is in significant decline, especially at these major publishers. And clearly they're not changing it. Like if I'm Dark Horse, why would you be only doing 1%? Like you need to increase that. If you're selling 66%, find a way to get some more manga publications that you can publish here overseas and boost those sales and boost that output. That would seem to be a priority for me. It does look like they might be doing that marginally, but I mean, I would be heavy going after that. But let me know what you think. What do you think this says about the Western comic book industry?